This episode is brought to you by Love Hurts. Kiwi Kwan has had quite a career, from childhood roles in Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom and The Goonies to a recent Academy Award win for Everything Everywhere All at Once. But now Ki finally stars as a leading man in the film Love Hurts. Love Hurts is the perfect date night movie with its mix of over-the-top action, comedy, and a ton of heart. Love Hurts, only at theaters February 7th.
This episode is brought to you by Allstate. Some people just know they could save hundreds on car insurance by checking Allstate first. Like you know to check the date of the big game first before you accidentally buy tickets on your 20th wedding anniversary and have to spend the next 20 years of your marriage making up for it. Yeah, checking first is smart. So check Allstate first for a quote that could save you hundreds. You're in good hands with Allstate. Savings vary. Terms apply. Allstate Fire and Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Northbrook, Illinois.
Kroger Delivery has one mission: to deliver the freshest food right to your door. That's why our drivers are pros. Our trucks are refrigerated. And when it comes to low prices, we always deliver. With $20 off your first order of $75 or more, there's no better time to get in on the action. Mission accomplished. Restrictions apply. See site for details.
You're listening to Achtung Millwall, broadcasting from the beautiful South Bermondsey. Accept no substitute.
Hello dear listeners, welcome once again to Achtung Millwall. The definition of madness I've just posted on X is doing the same thing over and over, expecting a different result each time. And here I am again, dear listeners, at the Den after Saturday's debacle against Hull City, of which I will not mention any more in this show. I've taken a personal vow, but welcome to the Den for the visit tonight of Cardiff City, another must-win game really for Millwall to help stave off the ominous threat of relegation after that poor performance, which I've just referred to again. Welcome to the show, dear listeners. You're listening to Achtung Millwall, number one Millwall podcast, of course. You join us under the lights here in South Bermondsey, cold night, bare little wind for the flags to fluttering and the Dockers stand opposite. Your Lions line up today. One surprising conclusion as a starter. You've got a back line of Jensen in goal, the usual back line. Joe Bryan, Jeff Tanganga, Jake Cooper and Ryan Leonard. The usual defensive two, Saville and Denor in front of them. The attacking three features a league debut, starting debut I suppose, whatever you want to call it, for Reece, Bangura Williams. Fantastic to see him included. Don't want to heap too much pressure on him, but we need another Romain Esse Reece. And you're it. On either side of him, surprisingly for many, Duncan Watmore, slated on our show over the weekend, the reaction shows. And Duncan Watmore and Callum Scanlon up front tonight. Ivanovic is on the bench instead. Macaulay Langstaff up front. Bold choice from Alex. He had to do something. A bold choice mixed with bland choices. Scanlon and Bryan on the left side, which didn't impress many on Saturday. Watmore didn't impress many. Let's hope for better tonight. I've turned out. I wasn't going to come. It's on the telly. It's on Sky TV. And I wrestled all day with my conscience. Shall I go down or shall I sit in my warm living room watching proceedings on television? In the end, the angel, or is it the angel of the devil? I don't know, whichever one round you want to have it, but one forced me to come down here by sheer force of habit. 52 years of force of habit brought me back down here again tonight. Here I am, so let's hope for a decent performance, some goals, who knows. Cardiff come into tonight's game just above the relegation zone. Lions, I think it's 4 points clear now after that defeat on Saturday of the bottom three, so we really do need a win, in my opinion, to boost spirits around the place as much as anything. Cardiff tonight are in all sky blue kit, Lions of course in dark blue and white. Looks like they'll be lining up to attack their way in the first half, as per the teachings and wisdom, writings, sermons, prayers of the Venerable Bede. In 9th century Anglo-Saxon England, he said, "Mill shall attacketh ye first half away end." Just waiting to kick us off. Probably waiting for the TV director to give us the go-ahead. Off we go. Cardiff kick us off. The goalkeeper in an all Guantanamo Bay orange kit. Cardiff from Wales, all of you listeners in foreign climes. Not all you expats, you know that already. Don't need to tell you that. It's any foreign listeners all around the globe. Our reach extends globe-wide. Little ball breaks. Ball across. This is 1-0 Millwall, Scanlon! 1-0 Lions! 1 minute in, beautiful ball down the middle. Ball breaks to Callum Scanlon. Fires into the top of the net. 1-0 for the Lions. A big start to put our matters to rest from Saturday. Beautifully taken goal. Fired into the roof of the net. Callum Scanlon. Oh, that's lifted the weight off my shoulders. Let's just watch the replay. I'll shuffle across. The ball breaks in the middle. Was that what more with the ball? Can't see on my screen. It falls into the path of Scanlon from the near side, left side of the goal. Fires into the roof of the net. Beautiful start. 1-0 Millwall. This is Leonard coming down the right side. It's going to go for Millwall throw-in. The crowd tonight is a pretty sparse one, listeners. I'm going to be quite honest with you. You tune into my show for blunt honesty, don't you? But so far, it's been a good start by the Lions. We're 5 minutes in, goal up, and this is a chance for Ryan Leonard long throw over on the right-hand side. Looping up high. Jake Cooper almost having his shirt ripped from his back there. But the referee seems to tolerate that when it comes to Jake Cooper. Must be Jake's law. Ball back centrally. Jules Saville will have a go. He will. It's over the bar. No danger there. Just one shot on target on Saturday that I won't refer back to. Well, same as that at the moment, but the difference being this one's gone in the back of the net. A bit of a delay whilst that Cardiff player got some injury treatment, as it is free kick for Millwall. Lucas Jensen, deep. 17 minutes in. Launches it forwards towards Langstaff, who's overpowered by the tall defender. Comes back at him, his little bobble headed through. This is Watmore on the right. Ryan Leonard on the right. It's took a bit of confusion. Cardiff player puts it behind. Confusion between the goalkeeper and his defender as that ball kind of scuffed through, really. They put it behind for a right-sided corner. Jules Saville to take. Millwall game managing already. Cardiff players just had to knock the ball over to Saville to take the corner. It was a bit early for that, George. 17 minutes in, going towards 18, I make it. Right-sided corner, here it comes. It's a deep one. There's Tanganga, there's Cooper, heads it downwards but wide. Some intricate spider's webs over here in Birdshit Corner. The Birdshit supply, there's a fairly large dollop. Is it guano? A very large deposit of guano on the ledge in front of me. Not on my seat, I'm thankful to say. But there is like the spider's house at London Zoo here with webs instead. Nice work there by George Saville through to Reece Bangura. He's twisting and turning. What can he do? Lovely control. He's still got the ball inside the penalty area. There's a 2-0. Casper Denora, beautiful work by Reece Bangura Williams. Wow, the footwork there, the close control on the corner, the goal line. Very top flight work there. Ball back to Casper Denora, who slots it over 2-0. Millwall in the driving seat. How many times have we been able to say that this season? 19 minutes gone. If you get a chance, check out the footwork from Bangura Williams. I'm going to have a little shuffle across to look at the big screen. Close control, wow, and he keeps control, goes past his man, slots it in to Casper Denora, puts it in at the near post. 2-0 Millwall. Wow. I think Race has announced his arrival. If he didn't do that against Dagenham, some might have, pointed out Dagenham National League. This is Cardiff Championship level defence. It went past them there like a knife through butter, like my knife in my low-fat flora that I have to eat now, listeners. A Millwall star is born. Well, 20 minutes into this game, the Lions motoring 2-0 ahead. Then buzzing. Totally different atmosphere from the at times toxic environment we had on Saturday, the game that shall not speak its name. But the place is abuzz, listeners. Ball down the line. This is Reese now on the left side. He checks. The boy has got close control. He's just lost out there, but he was almost back-heeling it to get past his man, who's had to give it maximum effort to push it out for a Cardiff throw-in. But the boy has got skill, dear listeners. Denor fires the ball forwards for Langstaff to run onto on the right side. He's got no one with him, unfortunately. Lone wolf, as we call it. He falls it into Ryan Leonard, pushes it forwards. Can he get the crossing? He can. Cross goal, there's Scanlon on the volley at the back post into the defender, unfortunately. It falls to Joe Bryan. Millwall tails are up at the moment. Ball fired in. That's headed clear. Scanlon looks alive, listeners. The boy is hungry. Listen to the crowd. Contrast that with the show I did on Saturday. I mentioned it again. I'm not mentioning that game anymore. Crossfield ball is Ron Leonard, heads it into the path. This is Macaulay Langstaff. He was offsides. What was sitting up for him now. The boy deserves a goal. He's putting effort in. He's doing the work. A touch offside there. 32 minutes. Cardiff in possession. Ball rightwards, bouncing around. Cleared by the Mill defence. There was a moment I thought that might have caused more trouble. Straight back to a sky blue shirt into the Mill penalty on the right hand side. Ball across the goal, cleared. A little bit harum scarum at the moment, Millwall, defensively speaking. Cardiff back in possession here. A little bit like those old Keystone Cops movies. Kids will have to trust me on this. They would all go down the road hanging onto the back of a police van. Big long line of them hanging onto each other, going around the corners in Old Town America. It was a bit like that. Macaulay Langstaff doing a decent job, listeners, of back to goal, forward play. I know he's brought in as a goal scorer, but he's kind of learning the art of being Tom Bradshaw, I think, tonight. Doing okay for me so far. Been a player that's taken a lot of criticism from myself and others. Bangura wins a throw in there, Millwall, halfway inside the left side of the Cardiff half. But yeah, so far, he's doing all right, Macaulay Langstaff, in that role. It balls to the 27 on the edge of the D, shot blocked, falls wide leftwards to the Cardiff winger on the left side of our defence. Ball skids up high. Cooper should be in it, and is. There's a body on the floor that looks like Saville. Ball breaks, so the two defenders getting in each other's way. There's a shot. 2-1, put into the right side. We had a player on the floor there. Saville's down on the floor, and they've got a goal back. The left side, very strange sequence of events there. Ball broke unluckily as our defence were trying to clear the ball onto the left side, and they've slotted into the bottom right-hand corner whilst George Saville stays down. Referee letting play go on around him. Well, the half closes at 2-1. Highly controversial goal there by Cardiff just at the very close of the half. The referee will surely draw some comment from the East Lower, the West Lower as he goes off, because he allowed play to continue whilst George Saville was spread out on the floor. Half time, Mill 2, Cardiff 1. It's always nice, listeners, to get nice comments on, feedback. YouTube, get quite a bit of feedback on YouTube, strangely, because the podcast broadcast via loads it onto YouTube as a kind of a sound podcast. But I was just reading the guy I mentioned earlier on, Johnny Millwall 91, digging out basically digging us out for, as he saw it, disparaging comments about players made in the wake of the game on Saturday. I think he was meaning some of the voicemails. I don't know, he might mean me, I don't know, but you can only call the game as you see it, Johnny. I mean, he says, I hope the new guy makes you eat your words. So do I. You know, I wasn't dismissive of Connolly. I was actually hoping that he can come good here, because if he comes good here, I think he's a very talented player. But you know, you have to call it as you see it in the moment. So it's interesting when you read someone that goes against the grain in the comments. I mean, most of them get decent comments, and I appreciate that, really do. But when you read someone who's got it in the other end of the scale, so to speak, it's quite interesting. Basically, Johnny's position, I think, paraphrasing you here, John, is that it's the midfield that's been a problem. Just thinking about the goal that was just given away at the end of the half there. Saville was gone down injured whilst the referees let play continue around him. Overall, we've looked okay in this half. We have relaxed as it's gone towards the end of the first half, and Saville being on the floor, Romain short, allowing Cardiff space and time to get a shot in, which has gone in the net. I'm not sure what lies behind that. We're going to be interesting to see if Saville comes out for the second half. We shall see. But John here's at the second post. He says there are problems with him going forward. There's no midfield to get the forwards firing on all cylinders. You're the only podcast that thinks the striker's the problem. I don't think we've said that, John. I really don't. I mean, certainly strikers' roles are to score goals. Ivanovic tonight is on the bench. I think Langstaff has done a decent job tonight. He still doesn't look like he's scoring a goal, but he's worked very, very hard. I don't know, I make you right. I mean, the chances flow from the midfield, basically. But, you know, when we do get chances, they've got to be put in the net, and that hasn't happened. I mean, the number of goals that we've had all season, less than a goal a game, that comes down to those that create the chances and those whose job it is to put in the ones that we do fall to us. There we are. Can't please them all, listeners, can you? Thanks for replying, though, Johnny. Always interesting to read people's comments online, so big thank you. Well, the teams are out, dear listeners, for the second half. Remains to be seen how much of a boost that bizarre late goal for Cardiff, how much of a difference that makes to their confidence. Jules Saville's out there, so what he was doing laying about whilst Cardiff played around him, I don't know. Not sure I approve of his actions there, but anyway, there we are. About to kick off. Millwall going to kick us off, attacking the cold blow in the second half, as per the Venerable Bede's writings. Just waiting for the director to talk to the producer, to talk to the colour mix, makeup, and we've got the nod to go. Away we go. What was the ITV show that used to fade in with the producer? It was Supersonic, wasn't it? Q Camera 1, Supersonic, and the producer was a grey-haired guy. Probably I look like him now. And they'd fade in from the production room into whatever hot band was playing the show that night. Younger listeners will not have a clue what I'm talking about. A 1970s pop music show on ITV called Supersonic. Great show. The Cardiff shirts are sky blue colour, quite a nice shade of sky blue without going all effeminate on you listeners. But they've got kind of darker blue patches. It looks like someone's used their shirts collectively to, as kind of rags to wipe off some car oil off your hands. And it's done it on every single football shirt that they're wearing. All fired up in the air in their own defence. This is a chance for Mill to get the ball. We've pushed off slightly there. Beautiful skill, Bangura, little ball juggling. He finds Langstaff, who's gone offside. There was a wonderful moment of skill there from Reece Bangura Williams. Listen to the applause. That was a breathtaking moment there. Unfortunately, he's fed it through to Langstaff, who'd strayed probably a touch offside there, to going straight down the middle. You hear the buzz around the crowd when you see a little bit of skill like that, listeners. The boy has got it. He's got work to do. He's clearly a work in progress, but the boy has the ingredients, in my opinion. Referee stops playing. It looks like Ryan Leonard's gone down, listeners. That's never good news. He had his hand up to stop play. The referee doesn't seem to like to do that. Allows the treatment men to come on now. Substitution. Danny Max coming in for Ryan Leonard, who's hopping off the pitch. That's not good news, listeners. Assisted by the two trainers, hopping He's done something to his ankle by the looks of things. Danny Mack's in 59 minutes. There'll be a couple of minutes of injury time to be added. Ball breaks. This is Cardiff now. Their left side, our right side. 27. Trying to do some disco step overs in front of Casper de Noor there. We've gone backwards, thankfully. They keep possession though. We're on 60 minutes. Lions still leading it 2-1, but it's that goal at the end of the first half makes it feel increasingly fragile, and we've not really shown much of the attacking intent we saw in the early phase of the game for a while now. So I'm getting a bit itchy and scratchy, listeners. This is the 16 on the left side of the Millwall penalty area. He's looked a dangerous player, the 16. He's beaten, blimey, Danny Mack's gone down now. Clutching his leg. What's going on out there? Emergency Ward 10, dear listeners. There'll be some extended injury time. There's your luck, listeners. We've lost Ryan Leonard, hopped off. Danny Mack's pulled up within a minute, clutching his hamstring, it looks like. Applause for Danny Mack. He was sitting on the floor. Reece Bangura. Who's this coming in? Is this the new boy? It is the new French boy, 52. Tristan Kramer, making his debut at the Den. It looks like Reece is coming out as well. He was, Ivanovic is coming in by the looks of things. A few enforced injury substitutions there, blimey. How long is our injury list, dear listeners? This is Joe Bryan. Finds Kramer now coming down the right side in some space. What can he do? He takes his man on and gets a cross in. How about that? And there's a continental style bicycle kick by Macaulay Langstaff. Not enough power in it. It was on target. Goalkeeper got down well, but that was a nice move. The French boy actually got forward in space and got a decent cross in. It escapes him. Like Mill crowd getting behind their side. I think they sense that there's a game to be won here and that we're going to need all of the grit and determination that we can find. Means a right-sided Millwall throw-in. No Leonard, of course, so it's going to be Kramer. It looks like he's got a long throw. Let's have a look and see how long his throw is. He takes it short, so we'll never know. Decent flight cross there from Kramer. The boy looks promising, listeners. It's my early gut assessment. This is Scanlon on the left side. Puts the ball across the face of the goal. No one in there, unfortunately. In front of everybody. Kramer now on the right side. Picks the loose ball up. Takes his man on. Into the goalkeeper, unfortunately. Great tackle, Jules Saville. And then no foul, he's pushed on the back, gone forwards, and the referees give no foul. How is that? He's saying he dived. What a load of old tosh, referee. Just inside the Millwall half on the left side. This is the 20, trying his step overs. We get a cross in, he does. It's into the box. That's headed away by Jake Cooper. Falls to the 12. They spread play rightwards. Ball's into the middle. Oh, pushed away at the last by Lucas Jensen. Good save in front of the 45, listeners. As he was following up, the ball was just headed across the face of goal. Pushed around for the right-sided corner on, 86 minutes. That was a late chance for Cardiff. They're going to have another opportunity here from the right-sided corner. Well flighted at Slangstaff at the near post to head it clear. And he will break now. Mill will break. This is into the feet of Ivanovic. Billy Mitchell can't feed it through. He was unlucky there. That was a pass out that actually hit the heels of Ivanovic as he was trying to run forwards. Going to be a right-sided free kick for Cardiff, however. Just short of halfway inside the Mill half on the right side. Another chance for him to put the ball into the melee. Poorly flighted ball into the arms of Lucas Jensen. He goes to ground in the modern style, listeners. No danger there, thankfully. 7 minutes time allowed, listeners. Cardiff take a free kick there. 20 gets the ball in. Oh, he's put it wide. Oh, my word. Ball floated in from the 20. There were two players, it looked like to me, that were in space there, and they managed to put it wide from close range. Wow. Let's have a look at that one there. Blimey. Lions dodge a bullet there, dear listeners. Cardiff picked the ball up. One last chance, I think. One last dance coming down our right side. Ball bouncing around. Oh, my giddy arm. Oh, they forced it in the fucking net. Ah! Last act of the game, listeners. That is a gutting equaliser to concede. I don't know what to say, to be honest. The ground is emptying. 2 each, from 2-0 to 2 each, against the side that they've looked better in the second half, Cardiff, but we should have had this sewn up. There's the final whistle. Boos ring out on a night when it should have been much happier sounds around the den. Relinquished the two goal lead. Tanganga's walked straight off. Bodies on the floor, injuries. Cardiff congratulating each other on scratching out a point. I'd have to see the late equaliser again. We shouldn't be in this position, listeners. There we are. Full time of the den. I'm going to go on. Millwall 2, Cardiff City 2.
Hey Atlanta, say hello to Small Business Help from Apple. That's right, we're here to make starting and running your business simpler. From helping you choose the right devices to setting them up hassle-free, we can help you build your business in no time. Speak to a business expert and get the help you need at no cost whatsoever. At Apple, we're open for your small business. Go to apple.com/smallbusiness or visit an Apple store to learn more.
At your job, do you ever have to deal with a nose roller? How about a snub pulley? Well, if you're installing a new conveyor belt system, dealing with the different components can sound like you're speaking a foreign language. Luckily, you've got a team ready to help. Grainger's technical product specialists are fluent in maintenance, repair, and operations. So whenever you want to talk shop, just reach out. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Achtung, Millwall.
Hello?
Morning, Nick. Jim Hackett here. I couldn't have rung last night because I was absolutely chewing on, and I've got no doubt the rest of the Millwall supporters were struggling to get words out after the end of the game. It was such a shame, and you've got to hold your hands up sometimes. There's nothing wrong with the manager last night. That was all down to two individual errors, and I'll probably mention them as we go along, but I've got no doubt that most people will be saying the same thing. And to go back to the start, I think the team he put out, I think, surprised a lot of people, mainly because it was pretty much the same apart from Bengoro Williams in the 10 role. And to be fair, we got our rewards on his gamble of that side. We got the rewards after a couple of minutes, and then by 20 odd minutes we're 2 up and comfortable. Cardiff didn't look anything like a team that could break us down or cause us any damage. And I think for the 2 goals we did score, the second one especially, was a well-worked, well-crafted goal. He did fantastically well, Reece, and then Casper finished it really well. So that was good. The first goal, great touch by Callum Scanlon and a great finish. So we were comfortable at 2-0 and get the 44 minutes. And this is really where the alarm bells that always come and bite us started ringing. And I can take George Saville missing his tackle and going down and trying to con the referee for a foul. But if the whistle doesn't go, I would expect a player who's if he's not injured, to get up and start fighting to win the ball back, support the rest of the team, and do his bit. But when I looked at the way he was lying on the floor and watching the game go on around him, knowing it was on our 18-yard box, and he just lay there and lay there and lay there, watching what's going on. And eventually unfortunately, Calamity Jake, for whatever reason, put his foot in as Ryan then was about to clear the ball. And then they go and put the ball in the net, and going from a comfortable 1-0 up, or 2-0 up, sorry, we then go in at 2-1 with our tails really deflated and Cardiff well up there. And the script for us is always that we make difficult lives for ourselves. And that for me was inexcusable from George Saville. And I was hoping that he was injured and that he wouldn't come out the second half to justify him lying down for so long. But the fact that he walked out and played most of the second half I think it was absolutely criminal what he did. And somebody in the management side should have a word with him, because that isn't acceptable. I think not as a professional footballer. I can understand trying to get the foul or, waiting for the whistle, but to lie there for 20, 30 seconds, however long it was, and watch the game going around him and not contribute, I think was criminal. Second half, nice and scrappy, nothing there. We had a couple of sort of very minor opportunities going forward. The same for Cardiff. I think they had one free kick that went narrowly wide, but there was no great danger in that. And then, unfortunately, you got the one person, I suppose, we didn't want the ball to go to when it went to him in the 8th minute of the 7 minutes of injury time. And again, whatever Billy was doing, I've got no idea, but whatever he was trying to do, there was no point. If he'd have just hooked the ball up, volleyed it into the crowd behind the goal, we'd have won the game. There wasn't enough time for anything to happen. But all he's done is give them the ball, they've pushed it forward, got into the box, and again, the calamity defending leads to a goal. So, 2 individual errors that Cardiff didn't have to work hard for that goal. It just, they've had our pants down there through not playing very well and our stupidity and our real lack of brightness amongst some of our players. After that, there wasn't time for anything. I turned the telly off, got hold of the dog, and I had to go for a walk for about 10 minutes just to calm myself down, because I was absolutely chewing, as I'm sure everybody was. And for those at the ground, even worse. I think you can't blame Alex Neil for that. It was two poor decisions from 2 individuals that are Millwall through and through that's cost us. I think we'll suffer going forward. I think obviously the injuries to Leonard, and probably more importantly to Danny Mack. I think I felt so sorry for him having just got back from an injury to go down like that. And until we know how serious it is, obviously my thoughts are going to be with him, because he's a player you can rely on in the scrap. And when it gets bad, he'll never shirk, even though he might not have the quality on the ball. His work rate and his defensive duties are never shirk. So let's hope there's some good news for him. I think our ball retention as the game went on yesterday was terrible, and I think you've got to look at all the players for that. But if they hadn't got their goal just for half time, I think our confidence might have been up slightly, and we'd have been a little bit better in the second half. The minus is now, for me, we're carrying too many players. We're carrying at least 1 or 2 players every game, and it's getting worse and more obvious who they are. I think our set pieces are criminal. Jake Cooper might as well not be there, because if he get in there, he's not actually doing anything with it. What we've got to do is do something that means that either Cooper or Tanganga get on the ball, but get players moving around. The rest of our players might as well not be up there, because they're never used, they never got involved. So let's see if we can go there. I think we're running low on players, as we all know. And the one sort of problem I'm having watching the games, or last few games anyway, probably since Neil Harris gone, is that Japhet Tanganga doesn't look the same player. He doesn't look to have the same drive, the same urgency, the same leadership that he had earlier in the season. I just hope that he's not turning around looking for a way out, when really he should be one of our leaders. On the pluses, I think we've got to nurture and build up Reece Bangura-Williams, because I think he's our future now looking forward. Tristan Kramer looked fantastic when he came on, did everything he needed to do as a right back when he's a centre half. So let's hope that he's got that confidence to go forward. And I thought Casper Denor was fantastic last night. I think he was our man of the match by a mile. And now going forward, we've got a right back problem. So does Wes Harding get a shout now, or do they continue with Tristan there? I think I'll go for Harding and look to get Tristan into the back four, either at the cost of Cooper or Tanganga. But at the moment, it'll be Tanganga and Kramer for me. And I think the one thing we've got to get, and I've said it sort of most of the season really, if Coleman doesn't play, we haven't got a chance of holding the ball up. So we've got to find the target man. And if we don't find the target man, we're going down, I think, because we can't hold the ball well enough to keep it. And with that, I don't think we'll do a lot of damage to any teams until we have got somebody big and strong that can bring other players into the game. So either Coburn gets fit or we get somebody else in. And then it's all down to Alex Neil now to suss out the players, and hopefully it'll do that pretty rapid and we can move on forward. I'm not going to see the next game or two, so thank God I won't have to watch that, but hopefully we'll pick it up, and Achtung Millwall will keep me well informed of what's going on. So good luck, Nick. Good luck, Millwall supporters. Let's try and keep our heads up, and come on, you Lions.
Thank you, Jim. Well summarised, as always there, mate. No, I mean, I was lost for words last night. Listeners, you could have heard that from the recording I made, edited this morning. What can you say about those two goals? They both came at the very worst points, in that we were just about to get into half-time at 2-0, which is not happened. I can't remember the last time we went in at 2-0. I missed the Preston game, so we might have done it then. But it's been a long while since we've actually taken control of a game like we did last night. Looked quite good in the first half, but still managed to find ways to throw it away. George Saville, you raised the very man that I was going to raise, Jim, because George Saville, and to some extent Billy's also a senior pro now. George Saville certainly is one of the senior members of our squad, a man that ordinarily you would rely on in an emergency, but increasingly in recent games, in my opinion, tell me what yours is, listeners, it's gone missing. And he went missing last night. He was laying on the floor. It was like he was on the beach, sitting by the swimming pool or something like that, watching the game go on, whilst Cardiff carve out a chance to get a shot in, which went in the net. Don't know whether you could argue that Jensen should have done better. It was an unlucky break from the two defenders, Jake and one other, I can't remember who. And it kind of clattered off at a sliced angle, fell into the path of the Cardiff player, who then got a shot and put it in the net quite well. But it was, as Jim says there, calamity defending, just at the very moment where you want it to be calm and clear-headed defending. So 2-1 at half-time just felt different. The second half, they didn't really... They increased the heat on us across the game, the second half. I don't think they really created that much, but until towards the end, they had a number of opportunities. They had a header that went wide that should have gone in the net. That was late, last few minutes of regular time, I think. And then, of course, that final chance as a result of Billy Mitchell deciding to play the stranger balls of his Millwall career rather than put it into touch. It's really hard, listeners, because you're questioning players that are Millwall through and through. George Saville, Billy Mitchell, Japhet Tanganga was mentioned there by Jim as well. He looked totally bereft of any desire to be at the club as of the way he walked off. That was my impression. That's what I took as I was standing up there in Birdshite Corner. What's happened? What has happened to cause a squad of players who managed to scratch and kick and bollock their way out of trouble last season under Neil Harris? A miraculous escape, we've said it before, I'll say it again. What has happened this season on the back end of a 9-game unbeaten run just before Christmas? Beating teams like Burnley and Leeds, who are ripping up the division on big den nights. You know, now both of those were results, and we probably skidded along a little bit at moments in those games, but they were classic Millwall wins. What has happened? What's happened? We've lost the manager that seemingly these players would play for, Neil Harris. He's walked because of backroom disputes. We'll probably come back to that as this show and the other shows that will almost certainly be generated after last night's game. Backroom disputes. Let's name names. We're talking about decisions made by Jimmy Barrelson at the very top to redirect the club into this football factory, for want of a better phrase, which I agree with. I think, it's always been a reality that every club, in a sense, is trying to find talent cheaply and sell it expensively. We've decided to make it our policy, Moneyball or whatever you want to call it. I don't know. It's always been so. It's just now we're trying to focus on it a little bit more. But anyway, the decisions taken to go down that direction led to the departure of Neil Harris because of a dispute with the appointed director of football, which is Steve Gallen. That's kind of it in a nutshell, isn't it? As a result of that, it seems to me, as a fan standing in the bird shit corner, that the mainstay of the side, the spine of our club, has gone with Neil Harris's departure. That's how it seems to me, dear listeners. Now, I've mentioned the other day when I was speaking to Merv the coincidence, if you want to call it that, of the the interview that Steve Gallen gave. Do have a look at it. It's on the Millwall Club site. See what you think to it, dear listeners. I'm not sure that announcing that the senior players will not have any contract conversations until after relegation, which might seem an attractive idea to a kind of on a schoolboy level, or without any real basic understanding of human psychology, but it isn't much incentive to fight for the cause. I think what's happened, the spirit is linked to those events, rightly or wrongly. We've got a situation where senior members of our squad don't appear to be anything shadows of the men that were able to put together that 9-game unbeaten run that kind of clawed us up to the fringes of the playoff area and has now dragged us back down to the fringes of the relegation zone. The bright sparks last night, the ones that Jim mentioned, Reece Bangura Williams and Callum Scanlon, who's not ours incidentally, he's a loanee from Liverpool, remind me of the old Alan Hansen phrase that you won't win anything with kids. Well, at Millwall at the moment, we've got a situation where we don't seem to be able to win anything with the seniors, and it's the kids that are the standouts. There's a strange, ironic twist on that phrase, listeners. Big thank you to Jim. I'm going to take a very short advertising break, listeners, and we're going to come back with Bill Slack.
Achtung, Millwall.
Hello, Nick. It's Bill Slack, ringing in from the spare room. My wife was on the phone to her boss when their second goal went in, and I screamed at the top of my voice. I can't quite remember. It was something to the effects of, "Oh, you fucking cunt," and that hasn't gone down too well. But what is she doing on the phone? What is she doing on the phone to her fucking boss at nearly 10 o'clock at night, Nick? That's the question. And now I'm in the spare room. Hold up a minute. She's lost a bit of weight recently and has started buying new clothes as well. Got her hair done and all. Mate, he could fucking have her if it meant Millwall got 3 points. I got to be honest. It was heartbreaking. I mean, there was a lot of positives there tonight, but the defending, Jake Cooper, George Saville laying on the floor doing an impression of a fucking fish that had just been caught and was trying to get back in the water off the fucking riverbank, and then jumps up and fucking runs around like he weren't injured. I was sure he was going to go off. Why was he laying there like that? What was he thinking? What was going on? And the last goal, but Billy Mitchell, it gets really personal online, and Billy Mitchell's taking a load of grief. I ain't going to say he's not good enough. I'll say that he doesn't offer enough. What he done tonight was absolutely unforgivable, but you could forgive it if he was fucking chipping in with 10 goals or contributing in some way. But he's like most of our fucking team at the moment. Nobody does enough. Nobody has got enough to their game. Everybody is just functional at the very best and really poor at their worst. And at the moment, all we're getting is poor. That being said, there were some genuine signs of hope I saw tonight. Bangura Williams, I didn't think should have started. 20 years of age, not experienced at this level. Don't throw him into a failing team and a pissed off Millwall crowd. And how wrong was I? That was fantastic for the goal, and that little nutmeg he did in the second half was fantastic. The Frenchman we've signed looks like he's got Millwallness and can play football, which is an upgrade on just having Millwallness, which is been the biggest fucking disaster for us. Signing players that are Millwall types. Millwall type means you run around, load of energy, and you can't really play football that well. I thought Scanlon's goal was fantastic. You probably won't ever hear me say this again, but I think Brian had probably his best game for a while. But it still don't convince me as a defender. I don't know if anyone from Millwall Football Club listens to this. I am telling you now, we need 4 or 5 players in the next week, because 1, we're running out of fit players, and 2, we've got too many average players. We've got no one to turn to. In the interview that I've just caught there from Alex Neil, he's saying, I look at the bench, I haven't got any white players to bring on. We haven't got, Macaulay Langstaff played the full 90 minutes, and apart from getting caught offside, I'll tell a lie, he had a decent shot in the second half there from the cross from my mate and yours, Tristan. But apart from that, he just looks so ineffective. And I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt and say, we just do not play to his strengths. This just ain't his game. I said right from the off, pre-season when we signed him, when Neil Harris said, we're going to have to change the way he plays, I knew he wouldn't score, because they're going to turn him into Tom Bradshaw Mark II. And that's exactly what happened. He might not be up to it at this level, but I don't think any centre forward really gets a chance. I thought Ivanovic was beginning to show signs of the player that he could be, and I saw a few glimpses of why we signed him tonight. I was encouraged there. I saw a team that didn't lack effort, that did show commitment. So there were some positives there, but we cannot keep shooting ourselves in the foot like this. It just can't go on. Luton are completely on their arses, and we go there Saturday, and who knows what's going to happen there? They'll probably fucking turn us over. But yeah, we'll let's get, listen, this ain't going to be a boring mid-table season. It certainly ain't going to be a playoff season, but we ain't going to be sitting in mid-table comfortably. But whoever at the club's in charge of bringing players in, you need to bring players in. You don't need to bring players in that might improve in time. You can't bring players in who have had problems elsewhere and are looking for a home. You need to bring in proven championship footballers who know what they're doing. And if you don't, we will get relegated, won't we? We've seen it all before. I'll speak to you soon. Cheers, mate. Hello, Nick. It's Bill Slack doing a quick impression of Bobby T in his multiple calls. This has just occurred to me. So at the start of the season, we have Zian, Flemming and Romain, Esse, and we sell Zian, Flemming for 7 or 8 million quid, regardless of when the money lands, 7 or 8 million quid. We then sell Romain, Esse for £12 million, rising to 14.5. So let's call it 19 or 20 million pound, right? So I've got a season ticket. Start of the season, I'm looking forward to watching Flemming and Esse play football for Millwall. We then sell them both for £20 million, and I've still got the same season ticket, but I'm now watching the most awful football, the worst squad that I've seen in many years, the lowest amount of goals scored in the league, I think, still after tonight. So my experience as a Millwall supporter has plummeted so far that there isn't an instrument in the world that can measure it, but the club have got 20 million quid in the bank. I know that Mr. Berylson wants the club to be self-sustaining, but my experience of Millwall Football Club now is so bad, yet the balance book is so good that I don't really understand quite what's gone on and what the plan is and what we're left with as supporters. 20 million quid, lovely, absolutely shit football to the point nobody can be bothered to go down there. That's what they've done. Yeah.
Wonderful stuff, Bill. I don't know what to say to your opening salvo, mate. I hope the spare bed was not too uncomfortable. Our spare bed is one that's very much one for people crashing over for one night. I wouldn't want to keep on it on a regular basis. But anyway, we are digressing. Dear listeners, your end message makes a very, very salient point. Flemming 7 mil, Esse 14 by hook and by crook. And these are probably all total packages, listeners. But anyway, it gives the club a position. Probably it hasn't been in for a long while. In that, with those two, big money sales, it's in a very rare position for Millwall. Probably being this season breaking even, probably even making a profit. I don't know. Certainly, the Berylson family shouldn't be funding a loss this season because of the dough that's come in. So the long-term plan to be sustainable is to build like Brentford and Bournemouth. I won't keep saying that because it's boring. But somebody, I think it was James Halfway Line on X, made a very salient point that Brentford and the others that have done this Moneyball thing, let's just use Brentford as a good example, Brighton, I suppose. Small time outfits that have managed to find and develop talent and move it along at profit and then reinvest it. Now the essence of that is the reinvestment bit, because yes, you probably will have to sell your darlings, your jewels like Romain, Esse and Zian before. Zian was of course under the previous regime. It wasn't anything to do with Steve Gallen. Neither was Romain Esse, incidentally. So the jewels have been sold from somebody else's jewellery shop, not from the project's shop. The project being this idea that James Berylson and Steve Gunn are putting together of being the self-sustainable club. So far, as I've said a few times, and I'm going to make the point again because it's my show, I can keep making the same bloody point over and over if I choose to, can't I? It's all on me. People can listen to it or not if they choose to. But the track record for the Gallen project, if we'll call it that, isn't all that glittering at the moment. I did a list the other day, and I'm going to find it again now while I'm speaking to you listeners. Here it is. I've got it on my iPad at my right hand. If you look at the signings since July of 24, I've tried to divide them, as I said on the previous show. Sorry if it's repetitious, but there's only one star signing really, and that's Femi Aziz. I don't know who was behind the signing of Femi. Let's say Gallen, because we're going to try and be generous. Star man I've put there. Lucas Jensen, you get various opinions on it. I think he's a good shot-stopping goalkeeper. He's certainly not awful. I think he could command his area a bit better, listeners. What do you think? But he does do shot-stopping quite well. He's an okay goalkeeper. He was signed for 400,000, which is probably small change in the modern market. But I can't mark him down. I'm going to say that's a Gallen signing, and he's an okay signing. And the other one that I've picked out here, Femi Aziz, Japhet Tanganga was very much, and I think maybe this is the origin of some of the disgruntlement that we see amongst our senior staff at the moment, was very much a Neil Harris signing. Harris is no longer with us, and I think with Harris's departure, a lot of goodwill and bubble and verve seems to have gone with him. You can tell me whether you think that's right or wrong, listeners. But if you look at some of the other signings, I mean, I thought Macaulay actually, as a Tom Bradshaw Mark II there, Bill, last night, I thought he actually put a lot of hard work in. What he isn't is showing any fizz in front of goal. He had his back to goal a lot, and I was watching him last night. He really did some hard grind, and I think he's tried to develop that side of his game. But the reason we signed him was for his scoring record in non-league football. I mean, see nothing of that. Service, as the point was made by my he's not my nemesis, one of the commentators on my YouTube feed, John Millwall. He said it's the midfield that's the problem. And I think you are right, John, because the midfield doesn't serve up the kind of service that will give any striker many chances. We can talk about Macaulay Langstaff. We can talk about Mihailo Ivanovic, for whom we've paid £2.5 million, dear listeners. The project, the essence of the project is to find your talent cheaply and sell it expensively. Now, I think whatever the rights and wrongs of Macaulay Langstaff, he does fit into that model, because we've acquired him for 700,000, thought to be, according to Millwall history, 700 grand, cheap in the modern world. He's not made much of an impact, but the punt is there. I get it. You know, we've bought him cheaply. We'll give him the season probably, and if it don't work out, there we are. You've got to take some on the chin. The Ivanovic I quite like, but is he €3 million worth of quite like, or is he at the moment still a work in progress? I think he's a work in progress. I thought he did okay-ish when he came in last night, but you can see the strengths and the flaws in his game. The boy needs to get more physical. He's tall, but he's got to develop a physique to go up against some of these hard-edged, seasoned championship defenders that every club seems to be able to put up against him. And he does have goal-scoring nous, and I do believe he's a poacher, and that's good. I'm approving of that. But he's, his hero allegedly is Mitrovic, the Fulham striker, who is a much more physical prospect, isn't he? So that's where the boy's got to develop. I'm going to guess that's got to take, 6 months to a year before he can expect to be at a level, if he gets there, where he can make that kind of Mitrovic-style impact, both for us and he would want to play for his country as well. Otherwise, I did read today that we're interested in Josh Coburn. It was a Harris signing, listeners. Harris was behind Josh Coburn. I don't think he comes out, Gallen can claim him, but we're looking to sign him on a permanent basis, which is a good thing, but he does get injured a lot, doesn't he? The others have been so-so at best. The project at the moment, if it's about finding talent and selling it expensively, I was impressed last night with our new French boy, Tristan Kramer. Thought he looked really good. He might develop into a project, buy cheap, sell dear. Don't know how much we paid for him. Aaron Connolly, not seen last night. Don't know. We saw him briefly on Saturday in that debacle Saturday. Didn't see him last night. Don't know, do we? We'll see. But so far, perhaps only Tristan Kramer is looking like a possible value-adding player. Tell me if you think differently to that, dear listeners. There we are. Now I've got a lot more voice notes to bring you, and I will be putting that out as a separate show, dear listeners. But I'm going to call this particular edition of Millwall Soap Opera to a close here. We're on 56 minutes. And I'll be back with part 2 in due course. So keep your eyes out for part 2, which will be the remainder of the voice notes. So from me, Nick Hart, big thank you for tuning in, listening to a very painful edition of our show, I'm going to be honest with you. Fingers crossed for the journey up to Luton on Saturday. I should be watching that on TV. And thank you for listening, dear listeners. Until the next edition, which will follow quite shortly with the voice notes, from me, Nick Hart, it's Arrivederci Millwall. Bye for now.
podcast is part of the Sports Social Podcast Network.